morning and welcome back. i24 News Morning Edition on this April 22nd, 2015. And today is Israel's annual day of remembrance for fallen soldiers and terror victims. From north to south, the entire country is bowing its head in honor of the 23,320 people who have lost their lives in the military, security forces, and terror attacks over the past 67 years. 116 names were added to the list of the fallen this past year alone. 67 of them were soldiers who were killed during the summer's Operation Protective Edge. 16,760 families in Israel, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Druze, and Circassians, are recognized as bereaved families. It is safe to say that the trauma and post-trauma are a national, if not regional, culture in Israel and the Middle East. Children sadly grow up here with the sound of sirens or worse, irrespective of what side of the fence they live on. Also, young conscripts, young soldiers at the age of 18 joining the military are sure to see combat over the course of the 3 years of their mandatory service and, of course, throughout their reserve. So how does a country deal with this? One way is a private initiative like Resisim. The Resisim project, that means shrapnel, but we're going to maintain the name and call it Resisim, was established by combat soldiers who felt that the Israeli public needs a broader perspective of discussion on matters of combat and bereavement, and that those who return from battle need a safe haven to recount their stories and pass them onwards. We're joined in studio by the Resisim project combat soldiers in the IDF Reserve Force, Itay Exelrod. Itay, good morning to you. And by Alon Sapir. Alon, good morning to you. Morning. Also joining us are therapist and artist Judy Gonen. Judy, good morning to you. And of course, psychiatrist Dr. Ilan Tal. Ilan, good morning.
Good morning.
To you. Now, before we begin this, first of all, I would like to start with the Resisim project, okay? Itay and Alon, what exactly is it that Resisim does, and why did you think it was something that was necessary to be created?
I think the best way to describe Resisim is we're trying to extend the limit of the converse of combat experience in Israel, which means we're trying to take the conversation in Israel about the combat. It's not only the soldiers who are fought, like me and Alon, it's much more great than this. We have their families, we have their parents, their friends, and everything, and we're just trying to extend the converse about it. It's not just the soldiers who fought. It's the feeling.
Society.
It's a society in every way. We're feeling it. We're dealing with it every day.
Now, in terms of, you say that, both of you soldiers, you're very young, both of you. How old are you?
25.
24.
Yeah.
24. For example, what did you do over the course of the last summer?
I spent my last summer in the border of Gaza, like Itay and like many others of my age. We reserve soldiers for 3 years since I finished my regular service, and I've already seen a war and a half-war in Amud Anan. So I think that our story is the story of many of our generation, of many of people we know and we don't know what they think about the situation, because it isn't discussed enough how people experience the service and how people experience war, and we really try to concentrate on not just soldiers who lost their lives, which is obviously the main thing.
It is the main thing, but still there are the people.
Still, there are many other issues that needs to be discussed.
I think it's the pain that doesn't go away for the people who survived the war, for soldiers who fought the way you fight, and you will be continuing to fight. Now, has there been reception to the organization? What is it, where do you meet people? What is it that...
We meet people all the time, also online, on a website. We talk with our friends in university and everywhere, and we meet people. We have a mother who was a speaker in an event we made last night, which 2 of her sons were fought in Protective Edge this summer, and many other reserve soldiers, and we're getting all kind of new stories and different angles of the combat experience all the time.
We collect stories from people who suffered many different, like a big range of experiences, and we talk to them, and we try to. Well, obviously, we're not therapists. The organization is not. The project is not
It's not a medical one.
It's not a medical. No,
it's a social organization.
It's a social organization.
And you're staying with us because I think it's very commendable, but it does lead us to the question of what does the country of Israel itself do to try and help? Almost everybody, I think, who lives here and has gone through these things. And Dr. Tal, I want to start with you.
Okay.
Because post-traumatic stress disorder, I think, is something that over the course of the last several decades has just been accepted in Western countries as something that needs to be dealt with.
That is true.
It goes without saying that in Israel, I'm assuming that there are many cases of post-traumatic stress disorder. What is it that, in your educated opinion, is the country of Israel set to, first and foremost, to help the soldiers, the young people who come out of these military operations? And, does it do enough, in your educated opinion? Because post-traumatic stress disorder is something that actually remains with a person for the rest of their lives, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Few things.
Make order.
Yeah. First of all, the PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder, is not the only possible outcome. Many people have many experiences that cause them to feel anxious or sad or not disturbed, but they feel that something have changed. And most people think that they're the only people that have that. And that's why projects like that, when people talk and discuss with each other, makes it less shameful and there's a little bit possibility, a high possibility that they will get treatment. The country does do its best. The army itself and the some of the services later, Natal here, which is a private organization, and it's within the discussion, but many people still have a variety of symptoms, including PTSD, and do not get treatment because they think or feel that it is their own problem, their own responsibility to take care of themselves, and they feel more ashamed to go and ask, okay, I've been to, and many people from a past generation said, okay, we've been at wars, you have to be strong, you have to go over the war and to come back to life as nothing happened.
It's really essence also, because I think, and the two of you can help me with that, it's every man feels that it's his duty, it's what they're going to do. They know it's part of their lives. It's almost slightly, shameful. What? This is affecting me that way. Do you encounter that in your meetings?
I think in addition to what Ilan said, when soldiers come back from a battle, if, I'm not injured, I'm physically okay.
Exactly.
But mentally, I can't complain. I mean, other soldiers suffered much more than me. So I stay in my own place, and ashamed, I think, is a great way to describe the feeling that many soldiers
the many soldiers feel. And Judy, I want to touch with you first. Natal, explain to me for a second, the organization that you're part of is an organization that has been around for many years, but privately owned, right?
Yes.
And you...
excuse my voice.
It's the voice, it's okay.
Natal works with all those problems that Ilan mentioned.
Right.
We are taking care of people who were injured, of people who had their post-traumatic syndrome, of their families, of their children, of their wives, For instance, to begin with, we have a telephone service which is very important because people are anonymous. They talk to people on the phone that are well trained for that. And from here we have several directions. We can help them on the spot. If we see that there is something more difficult, different from all other open lines, we call them back and we maintain communication to see if something is better. From this door also people can come to the clinic department of Natal, because if we see the telephone calls is not enough, he's coming to a treatment. We have treatments all over the country, psychiatrists in Israel, and it is very important for everyone. Besides, we have over there other things that touch the shame, the unnoticed people that are harmed, One of the problem
I think
is
exactly as Itay said, it's the idea of if I wasn't physically harmed, then what is wrong with me? But
not even that. I'm not dead.
Yeah,
I didn't die. The Memorial Day is not about me. It's about those who died. So how can I even begin to complain that I don't sleep?
yes.
There's no sense to complain, but it's highly important that people who suffer from different things after experiencing all kind of combat situations come as early as possible to get treatment, because there's a huge difference between those who get treated early as possible and those who get treatment
later on. I think that, the one thing,
and
one of the facts about, for example, PTSD is that it's something that can be sparked 20 years after the fact. That it can be dormant much more, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that's true. And it becomes chronic 3 months after the exacerbation.
It becomes chronic.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking with Itay and Alon, because the two of you are very young men. It's an incredibly, as has been studied, it's an incredibly, Resisim, it's an incredibly commendable experience that you've created. Would you say that you receive more calls from young men or from the mothers and the families of the people that combated?
I think that we try to reach out to as many groups as possible. We don't want to limit ourselves, because the thing about Resisim is not just about PTSD, and it's not just about. It's broader than that, and we're not, like we said earlier, we're not a medical organization. We try to talk to people from a range of experiences.
And why did you think, I'm going to that again, why did you think that this was necessary? There's not enough discussion in the Israeli society?
Like the Memorial Day ceremony we did last night was called the for the falling and for the living. Because we think that there's not enough focus on those who came back and the effects on society in general that war caused.
It's long run.
There's the life that we are living.
No, definitely there's a toll. Do you think, Dr. Tal, and also to you, Judy, that the state is doing enough for the discussion and for the people who come back from war, or the children and for the society? Is there enough done? Should it be a state effort? Should it be organized and be funded by the state of Israel?
For those who got hurt, the state does fund treatment. I think the state does its best.
Yeah.
I want to mention something else that is a little bit forgotten. We have 2 male soldiers, but also we've begun to see female soldiers, women that went or were near a battle situation and got even worse symptoms and even worse cases. So I would emphasize that. I think that Natal, being a private organization, talking about the toll Israel is paying, and Resisim, for instance, are very important. But I think the state should focus on giving the treatment to those who are hurt. And that's it.
Yeah.
The discussion in the public is the public's responsibility.
The discussion in public is the public responsibility, but it's interesting to me that it comes from a point of, because Natal, you don't only get calls of post-traumatic stress disorder, you get calls of anxiety, of...
But it is very...
Family members.
And family members.
It is very important, because the soldiers get something. I don't criticize anything.
Yeah.
The state does what it can. But Natal is doing with all the other people who are not taken care. And it is very important to stress here, with research, we found that the symptoms of a post-traumatic man are passing to his wife, passing to his children. We have the population that get like a contamination of something that is not well known enough now these days.
That we most likely will see. That we will see the effect of it.
It is
and
amazing.
I think that's why, irrespective of aside of the medical implication, it's right. If you live with somebody who has been affected or comes back,
and they have the same symptoms.
The same symptoms.
Although she was not here.
Yeah.
and they don't understand quite well.
I
what's
think it's
going.
sad for all societies living in the Middle East, but I want to commend Itay and Alon for having this initiative, and to create a conversation that is past just the need for war or what we have to do. And I want to wish you a lot of luck with that on this very, very, very sad day. So Itay, Alon, Judy, and Dr. Tal, thank you for being with us. Obviously, when we get back, we'll take a closer look at the Israeli identity in wake of these wars, sadly, and the bloody history of the nation, and what it all means to the Israeli people. Do stay with us first, though. Some more of the morning headlines.